Good morning, everybody. Very lovely to have you here. And before you adjust your sound settings, this is what my voice sounds like this morning. So I'm slightly apologetic. There's nothing wrong with your computer and everything wrong with my voice. I've been out having far too much fun recently and caught a little bit of a cold. And I'd like to say that it's the cold, not the fact that I've been singing at the top of my voice for quite a few days. Welcome to everybody who is currently watching live via Facebook. My name is Ali Board and this is Technique Tuesday. Now, the way that Technique Tuesday works is that I broadcast live on Facebook most Tuesdays, and if I can't broadcast live, I try to do you something pre-recorded. If you're watching live, then we have a little bit of a chat. You can pop a hello in the comments and I'll try to give you a shout out. And then we go through a project. Sometimes it's a little short-lived thing. Sometimes it's a project that spans over several weeks. But all of the projects are designed for you to be a self-sufficient painter. And we're starting a new one this week. Now, this week's not going to be terribly long, I have to say, because we only have the limits of how long my voice is going to last. But let's see how we get on, shall we? Let's give a shout out to everybody that is currently in the live room. So Martina, you get the award for first this morning. It does make me chuckle the way that some of you tried to fight over who gets the first comment. It makes me laugh. So good morning to Martina. Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Anne. Heather, good morning. Chris, good morning. Lynn, good morning. Ulrika, who's in Stockholm in Sweden, good morning. Julie is still in lockdown over in Australia. I hope you're managing to stay well, Julie. Linda P is in the room. Yes, Ali is making comments about my voice. The lovely Dee, one of our administrators, is in the room this morning as well. Good morning, my lovely. Yes, it is all from the singing. Lou, good morning. Chris is saying a bit of hot lemon and lots of alcohol should help. I have been trying that. This is the result of after the hot lemon and alcohol, so you can imagine what I sounded like a few days ago. Yes, Barbara, it is a little bit damp in Dorset today, isn't it? Good morning, Linda D. And good morning. And my mum is in the room. Good morning, mum. That is Liz. For any of you who don't need to say good morning, mum, you can say good morning, Liz. Linda, good morning. Jilly, good morning to you too. Thank you very much for joining me live this morning. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of stuff, I do want to just give you a very, very quick tutorial of where you can find various things on the website. With the new website build that we've done, I know some of you aren't necessarily finding things in the way that you should. So what I've done is I've put a live version together of where you can find the blog. So if you like to watch this live or you like to catch the start of it and then you want to watch it on catch up, this is what you need to go and do. So if we go to the website page, now this might look a little bit different for you because you might be viewing it on a tablet or a mobile phone, in which case you probably haven't got those words in the top right hand corner. What you've probably got is a couple of lines which you just need to tap on or click on and you will get the same information come up. So where is the Technique Tuesday? There it is. Look, you can't see my mouse, but I'm hovering over learning, but I've gone to free resources and there is Technique Tuesday. So I'm going to click on Technique Tuesday and there is the blog. Now actually today's blog is already up there, but why is there a big missing space to the left of it? There's a big missing space to the left of it because we're in the midst of recording it. But there you will find some of the blog posts that we have been doing recently. You can see that there's the recorded Technique Tuesday from last week where I was showing you how to finish off those paintings. And here is the bee project that we have been working on recently. So just to recap, that is under free resources and you click on Technique Tuesday and it will take you straight there. If you're interested in joining me for a class, you need to go to the learning part of it. Now, whether you want to join me for an evening class or an all-day workshop, you'll find that there's lots there to be done. And there's still lots of things to do on this new website. There's still plenty of things for me to add. You're just going to need to bear with me while I get those sorted. So what are we going to do today? We're going to start a brand spanking new project. Oh, lots of people saying hello to each other in the room as well. That's really lovely. That's what I like to see on Learning to Paint, is you all interacting with each other, helping each other out, answering questions. Rabina is saying good morning and saying it's lovely to be back. Who have I missed? Jane H is in the room as well, as is Joe. Lots of people saying good morning to my mum as well. How marvellous. Thank you very much for doing that. What are we going to do then? Shall I take you to the overhead camera and we will talk a little bit about where I'm coming from with this project and what we're going to do, because I have not got any idea at all where this project is going. Oh, not that I'm doing this live or anything like that. It's all good, isn't it? So let's take you to the overhead camera. Now, overhead camera, big blank space at the moment. Just got my little non-slip mat there on my drawing board, and a couple of things on the sidelines to do. And the first thing that I'm going to show you is I fancy doing an abstract. Now, where has this come from? It's come from the fact that we've been doing something kind of quite directional with our bee project. We've been doing something that's kind of very detailed. We've been looking at really kind of quite intricate techniques. So I fancy doing something that had a little bit more expression involved. I fancy doing something that really didn't know where it was going. And so I fished this box canvas out of my stash of things because I just fancy having a go with some acrylics. I don't know why. I just do. It's one of those things. I want to talk to you quite a bit today about artistic intuition. Morning Pam, morning Rosemary. Now, artistic intuition is something that you might think to yourself, I don't have any artistic intuition, Ali. I like to follow things along. Of course you have artistic intuition. You have artistic intuition. Let's talk to you face on. You have artistic intuition in the way that you dress, in the way that you decorate your homes. You choose particular colours because you like them. You choose soft furnishings. There's all sorts of things that you do that require artistic intuition, which you compile back in to your painting projects. Not everything has to be pre-planned. I certainly have not got a clue where this is going. I just fished a canvas out of my stack, said to myself, I fancy working with acrylics this time. I fancy maybe creating some textures. But rather than just kind of blindly going at things, I thought I would use some of my recent experiences as a starting point for my inspiration. Now, morning Pam, what are my recent experiences? I have been out on the road doing one of the things that I love to do the most, which is following my favourite band around. The band that I follow around the country is called Elbow. Go look them up. Go look at playlists. I'm not going to bore you with those things now. But standing in gigs and singing lyrics at the top of my voice has really made me think about text. Now, many of you will know that I use an awful lot of text in my work. Now, I'm also very hot on copyright. I don't want to be stealing Guy Garvey's lyrics. I don't want to be plagiarising those. So I need to think of my own text. But one thing that came across in one of the gigs that I saw this week was that Guy Garvey, who is the lyricist for Elbow, was talking about where he gets his inspiration from and how many of the songs that he has have a theme. So he has reoccurring themes or metaphors. Now, he uses a lot of things about trains and buildings and people. But one of the things that really hit home is that a metaphor, an image, a recurring theme for him are birds. And that really hit home with me because it's one of the themes that I do as well. Not just because I have chickens, but because I feel that I have a real affinity with birds. So I thought that is going to be my starting point for today. So let's go back to the overhead camera. Martina is saying, oh good, I've never tried acrylic, so this is interesting. Good news, excellent. And Michelle is dipping in as she is at work today. So good morning, Michelle. If you have to disappear, absolutely go and do work. I don't want to be the reason that you get fired. So morning Shani, I went onto a website called Public Domain Poetry, all right? And I found this poem. This is a poem by William Brown. Now, it's called Public Domain Poetry because these are poems that are out of copyright. So that means that I can use them without being concerned about plagiarizing anybody, without being concerned about upsetting anybody or using somebody else's words in place of my own. And I spent rather a lot of time looking through the public domain poetry website. There it is down there. Look, public-domain-poetry.com. Excuse my sniffing. And I found this poem by William Browne. So William Browne was born in 1590 and he passed away in 1645. And the reason that it hit home, look at this, a concert of birds. So not only is it kind of hitting the fact that I really love birds as a theme, but also the fact that I visited 2 or 3 gigs this week. So this literally jumped off the page at me. Sometimes you have those serendipitous moments where you think to yourself, oh, do you know what? That just kind of sums up where my head is at the moment, how I'm feeling, where I'm at, all of those kind of things. So I printed this out. There are printable pages from that site. This is from a series of poems that William Browne did called Britannia's Pastorals. Now, I'm not going to read it out. It's a poem that has text that I do not feel that I am qualified to read out particularly well. But there are some things that jumped out at me. And I've just written the blog to go with today's Technique Tuesday, because you'll see I was looking at words. I wasn't looking at stanza. I wasn't looking at the rhythm of the poem. I was literally just looking at some of the motifs that are in this. So we had things about a lark and singing. I loved this. The lofty treble sung the little wren. I thought that was rather beautiful. And I made my way down through this poem, and where wouldn't you know it, look at that. I chose this. I printed it out. I promise you, before I spotted this. And it says, in embassy unto the King of Bees, which I thought was incredibly fitting, seeing as we have been working on a bee project, and seeing as, hopefully, fingers crossed, and fuel permitting, I'll be toddling off to Manchester tomorrow, and the work bee is the symbol of Manchester. So sometimes all of these things just fall into place. So this is the poem that I have chosen, but I'm not going to take this poem as it is. Morning, Patricia. Yes, Ali, it is a very beautiful poem, isn't it? I'm not going to take this poem as it is. I'm not going to take the words, which is something I have done in the past, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't do that if you are working with a poem in the public domain. I'm going to do something that I've never ever done before. I am no linguist. I am certainly no poet. So what I thought I would do is I would construct a found poem. So a found poem is something that takes words, phrases, metaphors from an original poem, and you reconstruct it to pick out various elements that you find interesting. And I thought that is going to be the place that I start. So it's a little bit less about painting today and a little bit more about how you can use text and poetry in your work. Now, you're just going to have to excuse me for 1 minute because I do need a sip of water. That's better. Thank you very much. Now, I've just seen something pop up. Who said that? Linda P is saying, love today's theme. I belong to a poetry group, so this poem interests me. So Linda P, you probably have much more authority than I do about this. And if any of you have any information about found poetry, or you've constructed a found poem before, looks like a couple of you have from the comments that are coming in, then over on that Learning to Paint Facebook page, why don't you share some things with us? I would love to see what you've been doing. Now, this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take the thing that I don't know how to do, which is constructing a found poem, with the thing that I do know how to do, which is creating a little bit of mini collage, okay? This is a piece of paper that I picked up in a shop a couple of months ago. I was out on my travels, as I do. This is made by Cardi. And as you can see, it's handmade paper, it's cotton, it's fairly traded, it's acid free, all sorts of things. I liked it because of the colour. I have to say, it's that sort of denim blue. So I've got that bit of paper there. Again, don't know what I'm going to be doing with this. It's just I went, ooh, I fancy using that. So I've got my bit of cardy paper. I've got my poem, and I have a good old trusty, very well used pair of scissors. If my mum is still in the room, she will recognise these pair of scissors. And I have a glue stick. This is a Pritt stick. I literally just picked these two things out because in terms of cutting stuff up and sticking things on, this is what I know how to do. Hi, Hilary P. Right, so what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just chop this out of this piece of paper. All I did was print this out on kind of cheap A4 copier paper. It's 100 grams, so it's a little bit heavier than your standard paper, possibly. But just because I like to use with, oh goodness me, I like to work with nice paper, not cheap paper. So let's cut the edges off of this. Nothing neat and tidy, no ruler involved. Yes, my mum is saying she has the matching pair of scissors. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop this about. I'm going to pick out elements of this poem. I promise you, I have not decided this. I have not kind of thought, oh yes, I'll do this broadcast and I'll choose this, and this, which I know some of you think I do. I promise you, I have not done that. Good morning, Christine. I am going to work with my artistic intuition, and I'm just going to pick out some things that I like the look of. So the first thing it has to be done is a concert of birds, because that is our title. That is what I have been doing recently, and I really love that as a concept. I think that's very, very interesting. Now, what else have we got? Let's chop the top of this for starters. Now, when you have things like this, don't throw them away. Just put them to one side until you've got to the end of your project, because you might want to reintroduce them. So I'm going to stick that to one side. Now, what do I like? I like this word, bidding each bird choose out his bough and sing. Now, I'm not so sure about... I'm thinking... Okay, let me think out loud just for a second. I'm not sure that I want that whole line. And I'm not sure that I like the word his. So, because if this is about me, if this is about my experiences, I don't really want it to say his. I prefer it to say her. I think reflective of the times of when this was written. Morning, Fran. So let's take that. Let's chop the end off it over there. And let's just pop that there. We can play about with the order in a little bit. Now, what else do we like? So here we've got something about music. Now, Lynn has just put a question up that I have seen pop up. She has said, you're cutting instead of tearing. That's the first, at least, that I've seen you do. Yes, but hold that thought, Lynn, because this isn't necessarily the end. This is just very much the start. I don't know where this is going to go yet. I'm cutting just because it's faster. So already we've got an interesting set of phrases, of words that we can put together. So we've got a concert of birds bow and sing, and that the music might be full in parts. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Okay, I don't know. That was, as you can see, that was just serendipitous. Now, let's have a think about this king of bees. Now, the idea, the metaphor that, the theme that's been used in the poem is that the birds singing don't feel like they have enough of a bass part to their song. So they fly into the neighbouring field and they hail the king of bees. That's where that's going. So let's cut out the king of bees. It has to be said. You could say that my experiences of watching Elbow this week in terms of singing along with Guy Garvey, you could say he was the king of bees, couldn't you? Now, do I want in embassy unto the king of bees? Maybe I do. Let's have that. Let's see where that takes us. Now, what else have we got? To hear the bass to his well-tuned song. I think that's quite interesting. Let's take that out. Now, like I said, I'm kind of going to, because I'm doing this along with you, I'm going to sit on this for a week And I might change my mind about the text that I use in my found poem, but that's all right, isn't it? Doesn't matter. Now, Ali D is saying there's surely only one king of bees, and you may have noticed that in her comments she spelt it B-E-E-Z. That's because that is my husband's nickname. So yes, it has to have the king of bees. Maybe I will do that, Ali. Maybe I will change that S to a Z if I decide to use that. So what have we got so far? Concert of birds, bow and sing. Let's break that back up again. I'm not so sure that I like it towards each other. And that the music might be full in parts. I'm going to get rid of and that. I was reading about found poetry, and there's no real rules. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to have a particular rhythm. It suggests that you probably don't want to use more than one source, and you probably don't want to add your own words, because then it isn't particularly a found poem. Then there's people talking about bees now. He'll be horrified. It's really funny. Then it's a good idea to use things from the original source. You're just playing around with the presentation of them. So we've got a concert of birds bouncing. The music might be full in parts. In embassy and to the king of bees to bear the bass to his well-tuned song, which I quite like. Is there anything else that I like? Now, look at this. This is quite funny. I did not notice this. It's just caught my eye. So it says, the crow was willing they should be beholding for his deep voice, but be hoarse with scolding. Now, isn't that serendipitous this morning that I've barely got a voice? And there we go. With hoarse with scolding. I'm not so sure that I've been scolding. I've just been singing very loudly. So is there anything else that I could do with that perhaps? Let's cut that out. But being hoarse with scolding, let's just drop that down on the table over there. Let's cut that out. Let's go in from this end and let's drop that down onto here. I don't think that it has to make particular sense. That's not the idea of it at all. I think it's just to kind of bring forward metaphors or themes or things that mean something to me at the time. So where are we? Concert birds bouncing, the music might be full in parts. In embassy and to the king of bees to bear the bass to his well-tuned song. But being hoarse with scolding and nodding with his head so keepeth time. So what I'm going to do, because that is what I have been doing this week, I have been singing at the top of my voice. And I have been dancing until the wee small hours. So I have been nodding my head, but I don't want to be nodding his head. I want it to be and nodding head so keepeth time. So let's cut out with his, and let's see how that comes together. A concert of birds bow and sing, the music might be full in parts. In embassy unto the king of bees to bear the bass to his well-tuned song, but being hoarse with scolding and nodding head so keepeth time. So I'm going to cut out with scolding. Let's cut that out. To bear the bass to his well-tuned song, but being hoarse and nodding head so keepeth time. And what I also like about that is that there are 7 lines, which makes me think that I have got that lovely asymmetrical number going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide these over to one side. I better keep them in order, because otherwise I'm never going to remember what I've done and how I've done it. Hopefully my little my non-slip mat will help me out with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear, there we go, Lynn, I'm going to start tearing this piece of paper down to a smaller size. So let's fold it up. I don't know what I'm doing with this. I genuinely don't. I know that some of you don't believe me when I say that, but I am using my artistic intuition to create something. Good morning, Pen. Anne is saying this is starting to look like a lot of fun. Good. That's what I like to hear. You know me and Technique Tuesday. I like to be experimental, I think is the word. Now, do I want it in half like that, or do I want it in a quarter? Ooh, do you know what I'm going to do? Oh, I'm so in my little happy place right now. I'm going to make a little greetings card fold out of it. So I'm going to run my handle of my scissors down there, and I'm going to open it up. So it's going to be like a little greetings card to myself. So here we go. Good old glue stick. This is a Pritt stick. Other glue sticks are obviously available. I just happen to have a Pritt stick, and I'm going to get myself covered in glue, but never mind. Not the first or the last time. So let's attach some glue to these. Now, I don't want them to be neat and tidy. I don't necessarily need them to line up particularly well. What I need is for them to record that text that I wanted to use as an inspiration for the starting point for my canvas. And whilst I'm gluing this on, I suppose I need to start thinking about where I'm going to go next with this, because that's obviously going to be next week's Technique Tuesday. And if you think this has been inspirational after the broadcast, how about you share it with your friends? Let them know why you think this has been particularly helpful to you, and share it with other people so that they can be part of the Learning to Paint family. Now, you can't share the broadcast because we are in a closed group, but you can certainly point people in the direction of Learning to Paint with Alison Seaboard, and then I will let them join. So we've got that. Now, Ali D is making a very good point. She's saying, bet you won't put them at an angle. And she is absolutely right. I can't be doing with diagonal lines. I like either horizontals or verticals. I don't like things at a jaunty angle. I don't know why that is. That is just something for me in an aesthetic. Don't know. It makes lots of people laugh that I don't like diagonal lines, and a lot of my students put things on diagonal lines just because they know it makes me twitch a little bit. So let's pop that in. Now, what is Chris B calling it? Chris B is calling it a memory card. I think that's a lovely way of summing it up, Chris. I think that's a very good description of what this is. So let's stick that on, smooth it down, and let's get that last one in. I am covered in glue, which is not a surprise, particularly to my mum, who's in the room at the moment. I think I've probably got more glue on me than I have actually on my bit of collage. So there we have it. A concert of birds bow and sing. The music might be full in parts, in embassy unto the king of bees, to bear the bass to his well-tuned song, but being hoarse and nodding head, so keepeth time. So what we have is that cardi paper. I can't shut it yet because I've got a little bit of glue on there. Pen is asking, can you remind us what the grey paper is, please? Here it is. It's a cardi paper. I found it in a shop. I was where was I? I was in Brighton when I bought this at a printmaking shop. So this is not something that I have purchased online. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. If anybody finds it anywhere, then post the link on the Learning to Paint page. I'm sure everyone will be very grateful for that. Morning, Maureen. My mum is saying, born to cut and glue. In our family, my mum is being very polite because in our family we call it lick and stick. And there you have it. So my little memory card, as Chris christened it, sorry, that's quite a funny thing, isn't it? My little memory card there. Now, no matter what happens with my project, what I now have is that as a little keepsake. I might date it. I might write something else in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but this is going to be the starting point for that canvas. Now, by the time I see you next week, I might have changed my mind. I might have changed my mind about what I'm going to do it on and how I'm going to do it. But that's the joy of being experimental, isn't it? That we can have a think about these things and we can change our minds and we can use that artistic intuition that we all have. So I hope that was something a little bit different, something to get you thinking about where your inspiration comes from and what your starting points may be. Now, you might have your own way of using text. You might want to do something very similar to what I'm doing. It's entirely up to you. What I'm trying to do, my aim for all of you, is to make you as self-sufficient as you possibly can be, to go away and have a think about the things that are important to you, those themes, those metaphors, all of those things that sum up your work. And I'm hoping this is going to be an exciting starting point for an abstract, for something that might just occur on a canvas or a piece of paper in the coming weeks. Now, just to give you a heads up about a couple of things. Next week, there is a Technique Tuesday. I will be broadcasting live from the studio in the same way that I always do. But the week after, which I think is possibly the 11th, 12th, something in those regions of October, there will be no Technique Tuesday. I'm having a week off from Technique Tuesday simply because I'm travelling up to the SAA. For those of you who haven't heard of the SAA is this fabulous community of artists, right from beginners through to professionals. And I have the very great honour of being one of their professional associates, a partner in their professional programme. And I will be doing 2 workshops for them. One will be broadcast live. I'm doing a bee and foxglove. The information for which you can either find on my website or over on the SAA's website. Then if you are in the vicinity of Nottingham, on the 15th of October, I think it is, I'm going to be doing a workshop as part of the Artist of the Year exhibition in Nottingham. So you can come along and join in with that. If you want any of that information, either give the SAA a call or pop over to their website. I'd give them a ring if I were you. It's going to be easier to do. Or get in touch via the various channels and I will be happy to pass that information on for you. I'm disappearing off now for a few days. I will be back next week where we will see where this project goes on. Let's just see some of the comments that have come in. Heather says, Jackson sell the cardie paper. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Heather. Lots of people saying poetry and art go together really well. Lots of people saying this is food for thought. Lots of people saying that this is not something that they had thought of before. So this is fantastic. The lovely Dee, who I plan on standing with in the next couple of days and singing my heart out. I've already done it twice this week. She will be smiling because she knows exactly where this inspiration has come from. So I'm glad it's making you smile this morning, gorgeous. Rabina is saying thank you. Lots of people disappearing off to find some poetry. Lots of people commenting on the Artist of the Year exhibition. And yes, I was very honoured to be part of the judging panel. And yes, it was a really difficult job to pull winners out of that. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. My apologies for my voice, but hopefully that didn't detract from the things we've been talking about today. Until I see you next time, either in person or online, take lots of care of yourselves, won't you? And continue to support each other. It's been lovely to chat this morning. Take care, everybody. Bye.